This episode of Warp Factor 10 is brought to you by, well, of course, you. If you want to learn more about how you can support the show, go to patreon.com/thearena_podcast. Hey everyone, and welcome into Warp Factor 10, our series about all things Star Trek. I'm your host Expat, along with my co-host Burly of Burlyman Gaming. So how you doing, Burly? Another Star Trek Picard episode to go over. So yeah. So season 2, episode 8, called Mercy. We're going to be talking about this episode. So yeah, how you doing?
I'm a little tired. Birds got me up at 4 a.m. again.
Again? Oh goodness.
That God for crack. I mean McDonald's coffee.
Yeah. Laced with spiritual opium, right? Yeah.
Oh, tons of spiritual opium.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about Picard season 2, episode 8. But before we do that, we just want to let all of you viewers that are on Patreon, and then later on, once it goes public to our YouTube channel, The Arena Productions, want to let you know that this is going to obviously be a spoiler recap and reactions episode. So all of what we're talking about are spoilers. So if you have not watched the episode, please go and watch it before you watch our video. Okay? So with that warning, Burly, let's get started. So where do we begin with this? I mean, we were talking about this before we started recording. This series, the season had its potential, but it just, the past few episodes, it's been tanking. Yeah. It's been pretty much tanking now. I mean, this show is going in so many different directions. I mean, your thoughts.
Oh yeah, this show is tanking. This show, like I miss classic Star Trek.
Yeah.
I miss writers that actually cared and knew what they were doing instead of this. So we're writing outside our ass. Like I honestly think like some of these guys are writing. They're coming back from the bar, having a few drinks, and then just sitting and writing. Some of the writing in this is so sloppy because they just keep jumping from plot line to plot line.
Yeah.
And doing like stuff in these episodes that nobody cares about and overall are not going to matter. Like I'm jumping forward in here, but Brett Spiner's that plot line, we did not need.
The Sung plot line. Yeah.
We did not need this in this season.
Okay,
this was just to have him and the actress that played Corey just have a wink and nod of, hey, they were a big part of season 1.
Yeah.
Let's bring them back. There was no point to have them in this season. And then it's just like this to show just all, because all you it goes back to them. Corey picks up a thing of glasses and she sees Q in there, and Q telling her, here, I have the cure for freedom in the airlock. Do you want to take it?
Right. Yeah, that. And then, of course, the Rafi character. I mean, talking about how she manipulates people and stuff like that. And we have the scene with her and, the Romulan boy there talking. And it's just, we really didn't need that. I mean, like you were saying, I think before we started recording, you were saying that's something that probably could have been done maybe 5 episodes ago, or something like that.
Yeah, like that was like, because they want you to care that she's going through this loss and that she cares about this character so much.
Yeah.
But you got nothing this season till episode 8 you know, this flashback could have been episode 2, 3, episode 4,
Yeah,
not episode 8, because you know what? You can give me all the sentimental flashbacks at this point now in
yeah.
episode 9 and 10. I am not going to care if this character stays dead or comes back alive. If he comes back alive, I'm going to be like, okay, he's alive now because bad writing.
Yeah, we just it's interesting to kind of speculate now with Kore, especially
Mm.
what is her uh you know when it comes to the show now. I mean, what is her mission now? I mean, what is she doing? I mean, of course she leaves the compound, Sung's compound, and she says, if you follow me, I'll call the cops and everything like that. I mean, what is
Mhm.
she going to do now, though? I mean, is she going to turn around and somehow help Picard and and the gang, or I don't know. It's just weird. It's like maybe she's done. She just runs off. So we don't know. But
Yeah, like
yeah,
there is no ending because it's like if she shows up, if they waste more time on this of
mhm,
giving her like what's she gonna do? Hi,
yeah,
Picard's crew, I'm going to help you.
yeah,
Why? Like she has nothing to do. I honestly I know this is dark, but it would have been a better ending. She goes out, Q gives her she thinks she has the magic cure, but she goes out there and she just dies. Because then it would
yeah,
have just ended the plot line.
yeah, yeah,
But like you got Brent Spiner's character Song just being like, "I am a god, I created you," and all this and
yeah,
that. And it's like, oh my god, this is like the over the acting and the bad writing. It reminded me. Have you ever seen Independence Day?
yeah. Of course I have. Yeah, yeah.
And his acting in that with him
Uh,
as the weird scientist. That's what he's like in that. So it was like, oh god,
that's an interesting comparison, Burley. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. So, yeah, and he was getting in Independence Day. He was getting choked, kind of like how Rafi was getting choked by the Borg Queen in
oh
this
yeah,
episode. I mean, yeah, let's kind of talk about that now. I mean, of course, Seven, talking it up, to the bar owner there and stuff, and getting information, and of course, then they actually get to where she is, and before that, though, they're talking about the lithium batteries and stuff like that, and Seven starts to have flashbacks of when she was assimilated at 6 years old,
Mhm.
and that she could still taste all that that carbon junk in her mouth and stuff like that they inject with the nanoprobes and stuff like that when you're assimilated and all. But I mean, then they get to her, and of course she's like ripping into cars and like eating batteries and stuff like that. You would think a
Yeah.
human body would actually probably conk out and die, from all the acid and everything in those. But
Well, she's not just human, isn't
right,
she
right,
just
right,
like
right. I
she's
know.
actually beside the quite
Yeah,
cyborg? But at
yeah,
least I will say for one of the positives of this episode, I did like the stuff with Seven of Nine
yeah, yeah,
because you're getting going back to her. Like this is not a character because I have not watched the show
yeah,
she was on,
yeah.
her initial show, but it was nice to see get more stuff of her and her just she is a good actress
Oh
in
yeah,
this and
Jerry
it's
Ryan is amazing. Yeah, she's a great actress, and I like how she is completely understanding of what's going on right now.
yeah.
With the situation and all.
Well,
And what's interesting, and the title of this episode, of course, is Mercy, and of course, Agnes, of course, runs up and as the Borg Queen and just smacks Seven of Nine and just knocks her up against like a garbage container, and then just
mhm,
picks Rafi up like a toothpick, and could have just snapped her neck right away. But
mhm,
then you see her eyes turn back to normal there.
yeah.
Agnes's eyes turn back to normal there. So Agnes is still in there. And that's where Seven was saying later that she showed mercy. And that's
Mhm.
Agnes in there because the Borg Queen, the Borg, they do not have any concept of mercy,
No.
And so, they're like, still wondering whether or not they're going to have to kill Agnes to destroy the Borg Queen. You know, so I thought that was pretty interesting. But there's still a little bit of Agnes left in there. But as we go on in the episode, we'll talk about that. But it's getting to the point where it's the point of no return. in a sense.
Yeah,
But yeah, we'll see.
I kind of wish she would have killed Raffi. It would have made it more like,
Oh
because
man,
here's the thing:
yeah, yeah,
Raffi's character do not care about,
no,
because even though they gave us this flashback this episode,
yeah,
but that, like, that is not enough. Like, it's at this 2 point too late. Like, I would have liked it just to kill her off, and then you see Agnes' eyes come back, some tears come down, and
uh-huh.
then she just goes off.
Yeah,
I think that would have made a better payoff and all that,
yeah,
and
yeah,
would have raised, because this show has no stakes.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's move on a little bit. So of course we get, the interrogation room, and obviously Picard
Uh,
and you know Picard and Guinan, or the younger version of Guinan, are in the interrogation room, and they get separated, of course, by the FBI agent Wells. And I'm gonna say, when I saw this guy for the first time, now I know you didn't watch Enterprise, Burley, but
mhm,
if you saw, actually, not Enterprise. That's with another thing I'll talk about in a little bit. But I'm talking about Voyager. Actually, there was
mhm,
an episode of Voyager. I think it was in maybe season 5, episode 24, or something like that. It was called the episode was called Relativity,
mhm,
and it was about some Federation agents from the future, and the actor here that plays Agent Wells, of course, Jay Carnes,
mhm.
he is in that episode as a
Okay.
29th century Federation operative that is going to the past to you know send Janeway, and I think it's seven, I think it is, back to their proper time streams, because they took them into the future. But anyway, when I first saw when I saw Jay Carnes in this episode and the end of the previous episode, I thought he was the same character. You know, I didn't think
Yeah.
he was going to be the FBI agent. I thought he was going to be the same character that he played in Voyager. And
And,
he had something to do with trying to, fix the timeline. But apparently that wasn't the case. Obviously, he's just some FBI agent that, as a boy, he ran into the Vulcans. And this is where I want to get to the other part of where I think they made a misstep in this series and in this season, because Enterprise, as I was referring to earlier, I think it
mhm,
was season 2, episode 2, I think there was an episode called Carbon Creek, and where T'Pol, she discusses uh to the captain on the Enterprise about her ancestor that actually was on Earth with a team of surveyors, and in 1957, in a place called Carbon Creek, and they watched the launch of Sputnik.
okay.
Well, this guy, the FBI agent here with Picard, as a boy, he runs into this group of surveyors, these Vulcan surveyors, and I'm thinking this could be the same team, that T'Pol's ancestor was on, because 1957, the boy, Agent Wells here in Picard, he probably would have been in the 1970s or 1980s, right?
Right.
So Vulcans, of course, live for like 200 plus years. So these could have been the same characters, but they don't go into any of that, you know? So, I thought that was kind of interesting that they didn't have some kind of cross, you know, uh, you know, characters that crossed over into this series, when it comes to these flashbacks of, running into the Vulcans. And obviously Agent Wells, he thinks that they were going to kill him and all. And then Picard finally figures out that, okay, these, they were called Vulcans, and they weren't going to try to kill you. They were just trying to erase your memory. And of course, the scene here with Picard showing him how the Vulcan tried to mind meld with him, but it didn't work. And that's where Wells finally started to believe in what Picard was saying about himself. Yeah. What did you think of that, man?
Um. So yeah, that would have been a much better thing if it was the same character, like that you were breaking up
Yeah,
from
from Voyager.
Voyager.
Yeah,
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 that would have been a good idea. I was thinking maybe be a Q. That was my idea, as you
uh-huh.
said, as you know from the last episode.
Yeah,
But no, they just did a kid that saw Vulcans. So now he is doing everything off books because he cuts the camera off and stuff like that. And it's like, what are you doing? You know, you doing this shit is just gonna make you lose your job.
yeah,
So it's like the writing in this is just so bad.
yeah.
But like him doing the Picard, the only way to get him to trust Picard
Hmm.
and understand Picard is when Picard and him talk when it's just them, because he removes Guinan because he has the images of Picard and them and his team at the party for Renee. And
Yeah,
he's like, oh, if you guys don't start telling me, if you don't start telling me stuff, I'll call and scrap the launch, because
yeah.
he figures it out. This is all about the launch,
Right.
and,
Yeah,
and that, and it's like, okay, he's not a bad detective, but it's also the writing for this show isn't good, so it's not
yeah.
not necessarily a compliment.
Yet
So,
obviously, there at the end, he gets canned by the FBI for starting an illegal investigation and all. It's like, and he's like telling them, "You guys better get going," But
mhm.
it looks like Guinan there is trying to get him to help them. So maybe we haven't seen the last of him. I think he's
Oh
going to.
no, he's
Yeah,
gonna help, but
yeah,
we might as well, because Guinan in this thing is in this episode, and she has the moment while she's being supposed to be interrogated by another agent.
yeah.
Who shows up? Good old John Delancey.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Wearing the FBI garb and all, and it's interesting how in this scene he knows that he's dying,
Mhm,
you know, but then Guinan figures out that this trial,
mhm.
is kind of to ease his conscience about the fact that he's dying, you know,
Yeah.
and but what's interesting about it at the very end of the conversation he was having with her, and it's like, it's funny because they've known each other for centuries, like in Next Generation, and as it's yeah,
Oh.
it's but it's like as he was leaving, it's like, if she wins,
Mhm.
all humanity, is stuck in the past. And
Yeah.
of course he's referring to the Borg Queen. If she wins,
Yeah.
and so then that's when Guinan, of course, tries to do the I don't know what kind of method she used to be able to project herself into the room where Picard was, and she was telling him that all humanity is stuck in the past. You know,
Well, oh, you didn't get the reference. She's part of the MCU. She is studying magic at the sorcerer. She's
okay,
studying under Tilda Swinton. There,
okay, yeah,
or no, it'd be Wong now has taken over. So Sunder
yeah,
Wong.
yeah, yeah,
um, uh, yeah, no, but I did like John Lancey's line with she's like, oh, you're Guinan. Ugh. Just
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I did love that, and then you find out, is he like, they're like, is he dying? It's
yeah,
probably he is dying, and he's like, and you could tell he's afraid, but he's acting like he's not.
yeah, yeah,
But then I love it. She's got to do the hollow thing of just talk to just talk to Picard and get his help, and you see her nose bleeding.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, so we're doing force projection. So this is crossing into Star Wars. Does that
Right.
mean she's if she does it too long, she just disappears, like Luke
Yeah,
did at the end of episode 8?
yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. So anyway, of course, then we get to, of course, towards the end, of course, where Agnes, now the Borg Queen,
Mhm.
fully taken over pretty much now, and she goes and she tells Sung, you basically have two choices. You can either help me out, and then you can have those statues and everything, and everybody would know who you are and stuff. A monument to your legacy, or you could just drown in your own vomit.
Mhm.
That's basically what she says to him, and of course he's good. Of course he's going to to try to help her now because, he wants power, obviously. And then he has his own team of mercenaries, of course, that can help her to try to take over Rios's ship. And obviously now she has the ability to assimilate, and of course we see at the very end of the episode one of the mercenaries gets assimilated, and I'm assuming that all of the mercenaries in the room get assimilated.
Oh
And
yeah.
of course they're going to be used to try to take over Rios's ship in the next episode, because we have already got the trailer for the next episode, and we see like this team storming towards the ship, so Rios's ship. So because the Borg Queen has to take over that ship to be able to manipulate, things that are going on. So, but yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, episode 9. I just think, yeah, we're going to see the battle to take over Rios's ship. What happens with that? And I don't know whether the FBI agent's going to be able to bring other FBI agents to come into the fight, to help out, or what Corey's role is in all this to stop Sung. I just don't know. I have no idea. I mean, and the situation we didn't talk about so much, but Rios and the doctor and her son. I mean, they're going to get trapped on that ship as the battle begins, and who knows what's going to happen to them.
Well, that stuff was actually the highlight of the episode, was just them interacting, because I do like Rios and I do like the relationship with the doctor, but it is like you see he's just trying to just quickly, he is just trying to see what the Borg Queen has touched on the ship, and he's just showing them. And then I love just the little dialogue, and he's like, the kid's hungry. He's like, oh, ask for whatever you want. And he's like, okay, 4 little cakes.
4 cakes,
and then when he gets the tummy ache, she's like, that's your problem. Your fault.
Yeah, that's your fault. Yeah.
He's like,
it's the first time he's ever ate from a replicator before, so yeah.
Yeah, but I just love it. She's like, basically like, to him, you got to give me something, because you're about to leave soon, and once you leave, I ain't seeing you again.
Yeah.
And he's just like,
I don't. I still think he's taking him.
Oh, he's taking
them back to the 25th century. Yeah, so.
He's taking them back. You don't leave. You can't. You don't spend this much time with these two characters. And leave them behind.
Right.
They might actually do it, because knowing the writing quality of this show, they may do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't watch the episode 9 teaser. But with all these soldiers coming, I'm trying to think what'll happen, because they set Corey free. Corey will see something about her father. She'll come there. Father, if you really do care about me, I will come back if you stop this. And Sung gets conflicted, and then the Borg Queen will kill him and assimilate him, and she'll go, no. And then the FBI just shoots the Borg Queen.
Who knows?
If any of what I say
is
actually
Agnes,
right,
basically.
Yeah, you're shooting Agnes, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why, but I can see this happening. Some of this happening. Let's see how much of any of what I said is right.
I don't know, man. We'll see, but anything can happen now. I mean, that's the thing. Anything can happen. We'll see. I mean, you know that they're going to fix the timeline by the time episode 10 finishes. But I mean, it's like how they do it. Who knows? We'll find out. So there's 2 episodes left. So we're looking forward to watching them to see actually what plays out. So we want to thank all of you for coming and watching this episode of Picard Season 2, Episode 8, titled Mercy. So we hope to catch you in the next episode of our spoiler recap and reactions of Star Trek Picard, which we will be recording next week after we watch episode 9. So we hope you can catch that one as well. And of course, we will be doing recording for the final episode as well. So thank you so much. I've been your host, Expat, along with my co-host, Burly of Burlyman Gaming. We hope to catch you in the next episode of Warp Factor 10. So take care, everyone. Peace out, and live long and prosper.
Be assimilated. Be part of the Borg.